Okay, so there we're live. Guys, I am not sure what's going on. I am not sure why suddenly our live stream this evening is naka guest mode siya. So we might have to make do with this setup that our live stream is on a square na what do you call this? Is on a square orientation. So I apologize in advance for that. I am not sure what's going on, what happened. Siguro may nakalabit ako na hindi ko dapat nakalabit, and I am sure this is just, one of those quirks of having tawag ito, a large hands. At medyo kakaiba siya. I am looking at my screen and I feel that I'm scrimping on space because on my end portrait yung ang aking phone. But anyway, welcome to our channel. I am Jason Cappuccino of Sashes&Scripts. For those who are new here, let's begin our live stream with our poll on the live chat. So there in the poll, I am asking everyone to give their thoughts regarding the who do you think is the Asian flag bearer for the upcoming Miss Universe pageant. So I have provided several options there. Nasa tingin ko, they are the three most likely na mga girls that are going to be the bearers, the ones who are going to be the strongest Asians in the Miss Universe competition this year. So we have Michelle D from the Philippines, we have Anntonia Porsild from Thailand, we have Shweta Sharda of India. So please free to join our live chat room and vote for who do you think is the candidate, the Miss Universe delegate that is most likely to be the Asian flag bearer for this year. Ayan. Let's mangumusta tayo sa mga early birds. Jefferson de la Cruz was the first one who joined us in our live stream. Sabi niya, hindi daw siya team replay ngayon. Welcome to the channel. We have Nawad Shak, very interesting name. Ang sabi niya, I'm back. The one and only Char. Wahahaha. Saldi Salen is here. Hello, Saldi. Sabi niya, good evening, Sir Jason, and Sashes&Scripts netizen. So hello mga scripters. Let's have a very productive discussion in this evening. Please do feel to put your thoughts, your opinions on the live chat box and pag-uusapan natin lahat ng mga puro-puro ninyo, lahat ng mga opinions nyo with regards to the girls that are considered the flag bearers for the upcoming Miss Universe later in El Salvador. We have roughly around 70 days before the Miss Universe finals is held. And it is likely that within the next several weeks, unti-unti nang mag-build up yung heat, yung momentum for the Miss Universe pageant. And I think that in the next several weeks, unti-unti na tayong magkakaroon ng mas maraming mga news on our feeds, on our socials with regards to the preparations, the teasers for the candidates, campaigns and journey for the Miss Universe crown. I think that it's going to be a very exciting weeks ahead because lahat tayo anticipating kung ano yung ipapakitang pasabog ni Kun-an when it comes to the staging of the Miss Universe pageant, especially ngayon that this is going to be her first Miss Universe edition, that she's going to be pretty much very hands-on with how the competition is going to unfold. And we are going to be looking out for new pageant formats that they're going to be doing for the pageant. Kung ano yung mga i-introduce nilang newness into the pageant. What are the plans that is going to make us more excited about the pageant. So we're hoping that within the next several weeks, we will be finding more of those plans. Ayan. Will Garcia is here. Sabi niya, hello, Sir Jason. Anntonia P for me, off topic. Regarding sa the Miss Philippines pageant, pwede pa kaya sina Vicky Russian and Eliza Malinaw? I am not sure if pasok yung kanilang edad. Because if I'm not mistaken, Vicky Russian aged out just as much as Eliza Malinaw aged out at age 27, I think, during her year. Sabi ni Will sa dagdag niya, I am glad that the Miss Philippines pageant is inclusive kasi pwede sumali married women. Question lang, pwede rin ba sila manalo? That's the question. Pwede kang mag-join, pwede ka sigurong what do you call this, mag-apply and be accepted as a candidate, but ibang question kapag tinanong na kaya ba nilang manalo. Anyway, Ping says, magandang gabi, Sir Jason. Magandang gabi din sa iyo, Will. Will Garcia adds pala sa kanyang comment na uhaw na ako for third time Miss Universe, baka si Antonia na yan. Pag di pa manalo yan, ewan ko na. Okay, so for this live stream session, we are going to be talking about the girls, the ladies that we feel are going to be the flag bearers for this edition. Sandali lang. Adjust ko lang itong camera kasi it's a bit wonky. Ayan. Because right now, as I said, naka-guest mode yung ating live stream. So we're kind of weird yung overall setup ng camera natin. Kind of, I'm not expecting na, oh, shoot. Okay, somebody just see. As I said, medyo weird yung setup ng camera natin ngayon. So I'm just adjusting a little bit. Okay, so apologies for kung ano man yung nalaglag. I'm watching myself on screen. It's kind of weird na square yung ating orientation. Ayan. Yung mga comments here, Gamerholic is here. Sabi niya, malakas si Dominican Republic. Her name is Mariana Downing. And we have to be very careful with her dahil may kamay si Osmel Sosa dyan sa pagpili sa kanya for Miss Republica Dominicana Universe. And the last time that Osmel had a very large presence for the winner ng Miss Dominican Republic Universe was during Amelia Vegas time, where alam naman natin yung naging resulta that ultimately it was Dominican Republic who won over his own ward from Venezuela, si Maria Angel Luis. So we're keeping an eye on her, and she is definitely one of the girls that we've included in our list of possible na flag bearers for this edition because aminin natin, ganda in terms of beauty, in terms of this physicality, she has it quite quite very long, modelized yung kanyang proportions. Okay, there's a comment here from Ping. Sabi niya, Michelle has Asian features, very oriental, tall, and has a good advocacy. However, feeling ko lang naman hindi panahon ng Pilipinas manalo. Tamang babae sa maling panahon. We will be talking about Michelle a little bit because I think there is going to be an uproar on my thoughts and opinions on her being a flag bearer for Asia, because there are other girls that I think has much more, has better chances in terms of winning than Michelle at this point. Okay, sabi ni Gamerholic, I think the Dominican Republic is the flag bearer in the Americas. Okay, let's hold on yung ating mga opinions on that muna kasi we will be talking about the ladies one after the other in this live stream session. Okay, so before we start the full content of our live stream today, I would like to ask everyone to leave a thumbs up dun sa ating live stream session ngayon, para mas marami yung makakita ng ating live stream after it's done. And during the process of the live stream, the algorithm of YouTube will show this live stream to more audiences. So it would be very helpful for us if you leave a thumbs up, a like on our live stream session para mas marami yung makakita, mas marami yung maka-engage sa atin, and mas marami yung maka-join and mapalago natin yung ating Sashes&Scripts community here in YouTube. Because I think moving forward, more than the blog itself, I will be creating more content for YouTube rather than for the blog. Right now, because of the situation on school on my end, I am going to be focusing more of my energies on live YouTube blogging, because starting next week, starting this Monday actually, my full-time job is going to take a lot from me in terms of time, effort, and what do you call this, and resources. Because starting next week, I will be having 2 classes every day from Mondays until Thursdays. So that means that I only have like Friday to really create content for everyone here on our different platforms, whether it's in YouTube, in Instagram, and in Facebook, and on the blog. So that leaves me, very little time to really have a lot of a lot of energy to really go at it on these different platforms. That is why I am making sure that what I'm going to do instead is to divide and conquer. Make sure that my presence is felt in different platforms, yes, but I will dedicate more of my time here on YouTube during our live stream discussions, so that mas interactive yung ating yung ating relationship here on this platform. I feel that um, I feel that mas kailangan natin na i-build itong YouTube for now. Currently, we're still at around 5,000 plus na followers, and doon muna tayo magtuon ng pansin to grow our community here, para hindi tayo napag-iiwanan on YouTube as compared to our other social media platforms. Right now, we have almost 28,000, 27,000 on on Facebook na followers. Here in Instagram, we have at around 13,000, and in YouTube, siya pa lang yung nasa 5,400 something yung ating following. So I do hope that you will invite your friends to be part of this community, and let's grow this community together. Ayan. Bakit weird yung sound? Sabi ni Jon Snow. Okay, sandali lang. Let me just iangat siguro natin yung ang ating microphone. Ayan, para mas maayos. Okay, nasa na tayo? Okay, let's read some comments a little bit before we start with the actual the discussion natin for this evening. I think we're going to do a lot of back and forth between the flag bearers that we think for Europe, for Asia, for Africa, and for Latin America. For the Americas, sorry, not just Latin America. So, lahat ng mga continental groups na yon, bibitak-bitakin natin who we think are the possible front runners, the flag bearers for each continent. Ayan. Okay, some comments. Sabi ni June, good evening, Sir Jason. Paki-rotate po ang camera if possible. June, I mentioned this earlier, we're having a issue because yung ating live stream ngayon nagkaroon ng parang glitch. I think napindot ko yung live stream, yung guest mode na live stream. So my bad on that. So pagpasensyahan nyo na kung medyo weird yung ating setup ngayon. I can see my screen on our live stream that square yung orientation ng ating live stream. So I really hope it doesn't bother you that much. Ayusin natin dito sa susunod na live stream natin. There is a very interesting comment here from Nawad Shock. Sabi niya, and Miss Universe 2023 is going to be a scenario where it's Anntonia versus the Latinas. The org badly needs finances to come in, and the only way to achieve it is to either crown Anntonia or a Latina this year. I am of the same thought, Nawat, and I will be discussing that a little bit later on. Gamerholic says, si Chile, lakas maka-Amanda Dudamel. I agree. Super minimal ang lakas ng appeal, but may arrive siya. She has a certain presence na hindi mo maikakaila. Okay? And I will be talking about her a little bit later doon sa ating discussion, perhaps on the underdogs. John Snow, good evening sa lahat. Bakit parang weird yung sound? Maybe that's the lapel. Roscoe Peste is here. Hi Roscoe, you haven't missed that much. We just started. Kamustahan pa lang tayo at this point in time, even if we're already in like 16 minutes of our live stream. Then Hernandez is here. Sabi niya, good evening Sir Jason, watching from Marikina. Ben, mainit ba dyan sa inyo? Dahil dito sa amin, medyo weird yung panahon na may hangin pero mainit yung hangin. So, Gamerholic says, hi Sir Jess, how about Indonesia? May chance pa ba siya? Pag-usapan natin yan a little bit later on. Sally Salen says, I think Miss Thailand's Waterloo is the Q&A. She seems to be nervous and uneasy. Mas Latinas are equally gorgeous. Possible na overcome siya. As for MMD, I think she's getting there. Hajiev, hello sir. Late ako. For some reason, I'm not feeling the Asian Flagbearers. Bet ko so far si Dominican Republic. Ayan. For those who just joined us, welcome to the live stream. I just posted earlier dun sa start ng ating live stream a poll. I'm asking everyone who among the three ladies do you think is the Asian flag bearer? So I've placed there Michelle D of the Philippines, Antonia Porsild of Thailand, and Shweta Sharda of India. So please do give us your opinion on that a little bit later on. Okay? Now, dami ng mga comments. Just Lord, baka wala tayong matapos dito sa live stream natin sa dami ng mga comments. Sige, let's just scroll down a bit doon sa mga comments na dumating. Saldi Salen says, India is very articulate. I kind of agree. I just watched yung performance niya sa Miss sa Live and Miss Diva. They just live streamed it. I think several just today. Kasi if I'm not mistaken, India is delayed ng mga 6-7 hours or 8 hours, ganun. This morning siya pinalabas dito sa Pilipinas. Or this morning ko siya napanood dito sa Pilipinas to be more accurate. But yes, India is very empathetic when she speaks. I think that is one of the reasons why she's one of the girls that I'm considering as possible flag bearers for Asia. Ben Hernandez is asking, is commenting here. Interesting to see two married mothers in MU 2023, Guatemala and Colombia, but I think only one of them is going to make it past the first cut. Okay, Rene Villarta. Rene Villarta, here's the thing. Up until now, wala pa yung Instagram ni Tito Norms simply because after what happened doon sa social media oppression na nangyayari sa mga members and officers ng Mr. International na Philippines-based na organization. Tito Norm's Instagram has been down by Meta, by Facebook and Instagram. Thankfully, he is back on Facebook and he has been quite active in Facebook. So far, we're still waiting for kailan may babalik yung Instagram niya kasi ramdam namin na media personnel yung nangyari sa kanya. Okay, sabi ni Ben Hernandez, yes sir. The weather here in Marikina is very weird, maalinsangan, and then later uulan or vice versa. I think that's the reason why may hangin pero mainit yung hangin sa ngayon. June says, in my humble opinion, Thailand at Puerto Rico ang hawak kamay sa top 2. If Michelle B can manage to be a runner-up, that would be great. Hablon Dawani, sabi niya, maray na banggi sa gabos na yaong digdi sa live. Lakas ng dating ni Michelle D. Kung hindi mapolitika, baka na, Kung hindi mapupolitika, baka na ako pa siya as Miss Universe. Mas handa pa siya kay Catriona. Okay, let's see. I am not very sure on the last statement because wala pa tayong pinadala na kasing handa ni Catriona in Miss Universe since her time. So, tignan natin kung ano yung bala na ilalabas ni Michelle later on. Rene Villarta says, Sir Jason, bakit wala pa si Tito Norman sa Instagram? Okay, I think naulit ko yung ano mo. JB Sermento says, good evening, Sir Jason, watching from Makati City. Sir, it is only 3 months before Miss Universe pageant in El Salvador. Yes, literally around 70 days kasi yun yung announcement ng Miss Universe organization, I think earlier today. And then, nasaan na ba tayo? June, Sir Jason, should we still support yung Thai na Mr. International? May representative po kasi ang Philippines doon. It's up to the fans if they want to support. That's up to them. Kasi it's the same thing as supporting, Nikki Demora at Miss Grand International despite yung shaky na relationship natin doon sa owner. Mark Gonzalez, sabi niya, good evening, Sir Jason and the Scripters. If Nyakachi Douglas wins MBGN, do you think she is Africa's flag bearer instead of Bryoni? They can be both. However, kasi for me, Bryoni stands out because of her ability to speak and yung mas controlled na projection niya on stage. However, if she wins, Miss Nigeria, if Nyakachi wins Miss Nigeria later on, I think it's safe to say that at least posible na dalawa ang pasok na African countries on the first cut. Nawashak, sabi niya, expect a Latina domination considering the involvement of Telemundo and event will happen in Latin soil. Okay, now let's jump into our actual topic ng live stream. For those who are coming in late, then don't worry, we were just starting off our conversation with some kamustahan on and comments on the chat box section. But we actually want to start off with this discussion with the flag bearers for Africa and Europe. Now, kapag pinag-uusapan natin ang flag bearers of Africa, I am looking at Nigeria, especially with Nyakachi Douglas as possible na winner for Miss Nigeria. If she wins that, then she gets a immediate pass into the semis. Because I think personality-wise, people are going to talk about her because of her personality that she's shown during this world. Now, for the actual flag bearer, I think the strongest so far still is South Africa's Bryoni Natalie Govender. And I think that simply because of the fact that she's a lawyer, she's a practicing lawyer, and she has been competing at Miss South Africa for 2 or 3 editions, if I'm not mistaken. I think built-in na sa kanya yung competitiveness at built-in na yun sa kanya yung clear-cut na focus on representing her country at the Miss Universe stage. I think that Bryoni has a very, very Miss South Africa aura with her. Dadalhin niya yung ability to speak in terms of the strength ng South Africa when it comes to pageants. Ultimately kasi when we talk about girls who can communicate, we always look at South African girls as strong communicators. And nakita natin with Demi, nakita natin yan with Zozie, nakita natin yan with mga past Miss South Africa winners, even Melinda Bam is a very strong, communicator during her time. However, during the 2010s, the earlier half of the 2010s, yung ownership ng Miss Universe is more biased towards physical na beauty. And that is why, we haven't seen a lot of South Africans winning Miss Universe. Unlike during the IMG era where mas nagkaroon ng focus doon sa personality, doon sa ability to communicate, doon sa social awareness ng mga candidates, then we saw South Africa really doing well on that area. So I am looking at Bryoni as the sole flag bearer for Africa as of the moment. However, towards the end of the month, I am quite sure that we will be seeing more and more girls crowned and pwedeng magkaroon ng pagbabago doon sa flag bearers na list because bilog ang bola, things can change and yung mga inaasahan natin na posibleng manalo this year, baka they would end up missing the first cut. Okay? Now, let's focus on Europe because when it comes to the continent, Europe, we always think that mahina ang European candidates. In this case, I don't see that being true. I think that there are a lot of hidden gems in the European contingent na hindi lang natin nabibigyan ng pansin that we don't give or we don't pay attention much into because they are not as active on social media. They are not as aggressive as the Latinas or the Asians when it comes to self promotion on the different social media platforms. I believe that this year there would be at least 3 girls that we need to hone in and focus our attention to because they are going to bring the heat from Miss Universe pageant later on. I have on my list France, Netherlands, and Spain. So let's talk about France. France initially should have been sent to Miss Universe earlier this year at NOLA. However, because of her duties and responsibilities as the reigning Miss France, Diane Leyre had to miss the opportunity to represent France at NOLA earlier this year. So yung runner-up niya yung nag-compete instead. I think that was a very smart decision for Diane because it would give her more opportunities to be trained, more opportunities to prepare longer, given that she has around 8 months, at least 8 months to prepare for Miss Universe. After na pass on na niya yung kanyang crown to the reigning Miss France, she can now really hone in doon sa training aspect coming into El Salvador later this year. Diane is actually a social media influencer and a radio host. So you expect that when it comes to speaking abilities, she can express herself well. We're not sure if she is very eloquent or she's very comfortable in English or that she is, a very strong communicator using that language. However, if she chose to speak in French, I am sure that she's more than 100% capable of dealing with questions, dealing with conversations in French, and have someone translate her answers for her. I think yun yung strength ni Diane because among the girls, I think among the European girls, I think Diane is one of the girls na kahit na hindi mo siya pagtuunan ng pansin, you would always kind of gravitate towards her because of her sheer beauty. She reminds me of Helena Christensen, which is the supermodel in the 90s, one of the biggest names in fashion modeling in the 90s. And she has that same vibe as her. And looking at the Instagram feed ni Diane, I really feel that she's the quintessential Parisian, chic girl na even if galing lang sa Forever 21, galing lang sa Zara, galing lang sa mga fast fashion yung mga brands yung gamit niya, she looks really very posh, very well put together. So I think that is one of the reasons why Diane is going to be a very interesting girl to look at from Miss Universe na competition. The next on my list is, of course, Netherlands' Rikkie Kollé. Rikkie is the first transgender after after Angela Ponce of Spain. I think that Europe is a bit more inclusive when it comes to allowing transgender, candidates to compete and to win other nationals. And I think that is one of the reasons why when it comes to the European contingent, they are less, there's less noise about them. But when they make noise, asahan mo na mapapansin at mapapansin siya. So I am not very confident as of this moment to see yung kanyang technical na performance. I don't think that there is still, enough content on that. So I am withholding muna on my end um, yung critique on her ability to walk, ability, her technical abilities, essentially on the presentation side. However, I want to focus on the fact that being the first transgender candidate since Angela Ponce, and now with Miss Universe being a company that is owned by a transgender woman, I think that Rikkie is, a very, I don't think it's luck yung masasabi kong ano niya. But I think it's a very good happenstance that she won during the time that you have the transgender owner of the pageant. I think mas magkakaroon siya ng ng opportunities to make it into the semis because mas open yung organization to have different kinds of women being represented on stage because of the inclusivity of its ownership. I think that Rikkie being European works on her advantage as well because Europe traditionally in the past 10, 20 years have been waning in terms of yung kanilang presence in the semis. I think that Europe really needs a shake up and this is one of those ways that they can shake up yung kanilang lineup. And I think that when it comes to yung representation ng Europe on the semifinalists of the Miss Universe organization, ang liit parati ng opportunities nila na makapasok. And I think that hopefully that this year that would change. So moving on to the third girl, who I think is going to be, the flag bearer of Europe in Miss Universe later this year is Spain's Athenea Perez. Okay, this is a very interesting girl for me because she is the first Black Miss Spain winner. She's the first Miss Universe Spain of African, I believe, na, na, na descent. I am not sure if it's Afro-Latina or African from the continent of Africa. However, I think that her being the first woman of color, the first Black Miss Spain winner for the Miss Universe Spain na title, mabibigyan siya ng opportunity to really speak about her experience, to really speak about what it is to represent a predominantly white na country in terms of population and being a woman of color in that country. I think this is very similar to the Denny Mendez situation in 1997. So I think that Athenea has a lot of speaking points to bring into the Miss Universe pageant later on. Imposible na hindi pag-uusapan ang representation in Miss Universe. Hindi hindi tawag ito, hindi siya this is not the type of topic that's not going to be heard. This is the kind of topic that you want to know more about, especially at the Miss Universe stage when the pageant is very much noisy, very much into inclusivity. So yung yung ability ni Athenea to speak, and I've seen clips of her speak, although in native Spanish, she has a she has very she's very confident in the delivery in terms of the way that she answers questions. And based on the English translation ng kanyang mga interviews, yung kanyang mga clips that napanood ko, I think this girl is not just smart, but she also knows how to navigate very sensitive na mga political questions. Because when she was interviewed, I believe in Telemundo, because she traveled to Miami for a smile train na activity, and she was interviewed in a Spanish speaking na program under Telemundo. And when she was asked about her views about feminism in the 21st century, in today's society, she was able to manage to be able to convey her thoughts that there is a difference between feminism and female chauvinism. And her ability to discuss that topic without having to be victim of uh, the negative implications of having a political thought was very impressive. So when it comes to the top 5 na Q&A, kapag makarating siya doon at mabigyan siya ng politically difficult questions, I think that she's going to, sail easily past those questions because she is very smart and she is very conversant and she is very well known when it comes to these kinds of issues and topics. So I really am very much looking forward to Spain making it into the top 16 into the semifinals of Miss Universe this year. Now, I want to discuss the Americas and Asia different in a separate discussion because I think sila yung pagtutuunan natin ng pansin pa Miss Universe. I know that at this point in time, lahat tayo, we are looking for a possible Latino domination in Miss Universe. And that is reflective of the number of names actually, that I have in my list when it comes to the possible flag bearers for the Americas. Okay? But before that, let us go over muna dun sa ating mga questions and comments sa chat box. Okay. I have to scroll back up. Medyo marami tayong mga comments at this point. Shoot. Okay, EF Chicago is here. Sabi niya, India and Thailand versus Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Colombia, Venezuela. Happening to Nicaragua, Peru, possibly Chile in that list, EF Chicago, because there's a lot of girls, heavy hitters that is in the Latin American contingent, and we haven't seen representatives yet of the US and Panama in the list. Okay. June, ano po ang transformational woman story ni Anntonia Porsild? If you watched yung what do you call this? If you watched yung mga interviews ni Anntonia, one of the things that she discussed about joining in the dangers and perils of joining Miss Universe Thailand was that she can be held back by her Miss Supranational win. Although she did not necessarily worded it that way, she mentioned about accusations, about negative images that is attached to her simply because of her winning Miss Universe, Miss Supranational several years back. Transformational na woman na story ni Antonia can be deemed as, why is it that people will always impose on women limits to their ambition? Why is it that when it comes to conversations about ambition, when it's in the context of men, there is no limits. However, for women, there is always a ceiling, a glass ceiling that they have to break through, that they have to go over in terms of their ambitions. Being Miss Supranational probably is a blessing for Antonia, but that doesn't mean that she should not be aiming higher. That is a very selfish notion. I think that if Lara Duta can win Miss Intercontinental in 1997 and then compete in Miss Universe and not being stopped in terms of her winning the title, then why is it that it is comfortable for pageant fans like us, who are just mere spectators, to put a limit to what other women or what other pageant girls can achieve in terms of their pageant careers? Okay. Um, I know that there is a sour note whenever we see, Binibining Pilipinas winners crossing over to Miss Universe Philippines. But that is simply because we know that they're not going to be treated well when they are crossing over to the different pageant system. Unlike in other pageants, that there is equal footing to win. There is always, some sort of like a bias or a leaning towards certain girls without the baggage of a Binibining Pilipinas or other pageants attached to them. Now, if that is the case, if that is the same case on Antonia, then wala siguro tayo magiging problema if she joins MUP and won MUP. The thing is, we understand that Antonia is a threat, and therefore we are afraid of her or what she's capable come Miss Universe. Because right now, based on what we see, I think that a lot of Filipino fans getting agitated, whether it's in the comments, whether it's their thoughts and opinions on different platforms regarding Antonia, yung kinu-question parati ng mga ng mga tao is, nanalo na yan. So bakit pa siya sumali ulit? And this is something that is a gamble on the pageant girls' part, because if you win a national title and an international title, sumubok ka sa Miss Universe at natalo ka, people will remember you losing in Miss Universe rather than winning Miss Supranational. Mabubura yung winning mo as Miss Supranational if you lose at Miss Universe. And I'm sure Antonia is pretty much aware of that risk. And the thing is, that is her risk to take. And I think that is the part where transformational yung kanyang kwento. Because when people put limits to what you can achieve or what you are wanting to achieve, that should become a bigger incentive for you to achieve more. There is no such thing as too ambitious. There is such a thing as makapanakit ka ng kapwa because of being ambitious. But if your dreams does not mean na may maaapakan kang tao, then why not go for it? I think that is one of the gist of the things that she wanted to express during her media tour. Whenever she is asked that question, yung why is it normal for us, for people, to put a ceiling on somebody else's dreams when we ourselves, don't have that right to exercise that power. Okay? Now, let's move on to the comments. Jester PL says, Happy Saturday, Sir Jason. Are we ready to see the dreaded continental placements again? If ibabalik lang naman, hehehe. Mas masakit kapag ibalik nila ang continental placements because in continental placements, they would only allow three girls to make it in the continental na grouping. And then, uh, everything else doon sa wild card. I am not sure if it's going to be like three continental groupings tapos one wild card na grouping for tawag ito, for Miss Universe because I think that they've moved on from that concept. I don't think that it is a popular concept in Miss Universe. So maybe this time around, we should be more confident na hindi na siya muna babalik in the near foreseeable future. But let's not discount the fact that when it comes to looking at the girls per continent this year, we can really say that the Latinas are out for blood. They are the most competitive group in this year's batch, in my opinion. Lemon 23.5. Hello, Sir Jason. Currently ongoing ang the Miss Philippines final screenings. I'm a bit sad two of the Miss Filipina winners didn't show up to do uh, due to uncertainties. Okay, I'm not covering that, so I am not pretty much invested in it dahil next year pa naman ang competition nila. Tawag ito, mag mag-screening sila ng mag-screening, Kebs. Saka natin pag-usapan kapag may official candidate na. Next year pa naman kasi. Tagal-tagal pa. Unahin na muna natin ng Miss Universe, no? Okay, nasaan na ba tayo? Where are we? Maria, I think it's Jon Snow. Sabi ni Jon Snow, baka gulatin tayo ng mga European girls this time. Remember that last time in El Salvador hosted, a European girl won. Baka gayahin ng Miss You ang Miss World na European ng winner. Classic beauty at unassuming pero mabenta. That is what I'm looking at right now. They are going probably to crown a very commercial winner for Miss Universe. And when I say commercial, yung klase ng ganda na pwedeng bumenta in all different markets. Yung tipong kayang magpasok ng pera sa organization simply because alam naman natin yung financials ng JKN group, di ba? And I will be discussing with you some theories that is formulating in my head after these comments. Maria Diana says Miss India heart emoji. Yes, definitely. You can vote for Miss India in our poll that is currently ongoing in our chat box. Really, Gutierrez Mendoza says, Hi, Sir Jason. Amazing evening. Aisha Sia. Hello, sir. Love from France. Hello, Aisha. Okay, Lemuel 23.5 says, don't forget about Ukraine, Great Britain, and Poland. These wildcards, Europe beauties, remind me of the Trump era mixed with IMG type of mindset. Jan Snow 79 says, we also need to regard the bias of the host country. We hosted 3 times, 2 European, 1 and 1 Asian. Baka ganun din sa El Salvador. Leila Lopes earned plus points coming from a former Portugal colony. And to think that it was hosted in Brazil and a girl from a Portuguese colony won Miss Universe in 2011. Okay, Haji, not really afraid of Anntonia. Her peak beauty was back in Supra, as I said before. Very over-processed siya now. She gives me Maria vibes. Sure, she'll be a great contender, but I prefer Dominican Republic. Mark Gonzalez says, Mrs. Spain is Afro-Latina from Equatorial Guinea, a former Spanish colony. Okay, so that clears it up. She's not African in origin, but Afro-Latina. So which is the reason why if she wins, niya yung ano, sakop niya yung Latin American na market. And I think her being half, half Spanish and half Equatorial Guinean, I think that would serve her come one-on-one interviews, because when you are introducing yourself to a room for full of judges, there's more interesting things about yourselves to talk about. Now, let's now talk about the front runners or the flag bearers from Asia. Initially, I have three on my list. However, as I was continuously debating whether should it be a list of three girls or two girls, unti-unti kong may napapansin with regards to Michelle B's preparations for Miss Universe. I think that on paper, she's very perfect in terms of yung resume niya coming into Miss Universe. However, when it comes to the technical side of facial transitions for her pasarela, for her presentation techniques, yung body positioning niya, yung transitions ng mga poses niya, medyo kinakailangan may ayusin pa. Because looking at her training videos, whenever she walks like a model. And the way that she walks, may konting stomp pa doon sa kanyang lakad. And that is, very reminiscent of the Giselle Bonchen, school of modeling na thought na the more horse-like you walk on stage, the more impactful it is. I think that mas kinakailangan lumambot pa yung facial expressions ni Michelle, yung transition between one facial pose to another, yung kanyang body, kinakailangan mas fluid pa yung transitions ng kanyang mga poses. I think yan is something that can be polished through intensive training, um, you know, uh, uh, we're we're back. I think there we're back. As I said, sorry about this. As I was saying about the what do you call this? About the situation with Michelle. There is still a lot of areas that needs polishing. But I think if she is able to, to polish the things that she needs to polish on the presentation side, wala tayong magiging problema. The second thing that I also noticed as I was looking over, researching over the bios, the preparations of the girls, napapansin ko na very Bea Luigi Gomez 2.0 yung galawan ng packaging on Michelle. First, there was the LGBTQIA plus na angle that they worked, and they managed to have it aligned during the Pride Month, weeks or days before the Pride Month. And then currently she is being trained as a reservist in the army or in the Air Force, if I'm not mistaken, which is also something that is very Bea Luigi in 2021. And then looking at the way that she's packaged as a alta na model, which is also another thing that reminded me of Bea Luigi Gomez in 2021. So I know that it might look like they are copying yung mga nagawa or ginawa under Bea Luigi. However, I have two opposing sides of me debating this situation. Kasi one, if it worked on Bea, definitely, I think it can also work for Michelle. The second thing that is weighing on my head was that there needs to be something new and different in the way that Michelle is being packaged. Because the last thing that you want to happen is that people will just comment her that, oh, she's another, clone of Bea Luigi Gomez. And that is not something that you want to happen, or that is not something that you want to achieve. Uh, dahil you want to package Michelle as a person with her own distinct personality, quirks, and distinct kind of beauty and what she can bring into the table. So I'm a little bit, scared that baka tumawid masyado doon sa Bea Luigi 2.0 na version without, really being careful in the way that she's packaged. That is the thing that I am a bit, a bit worried about because kahit na sabihin natin na tawag ito na okay, so kahit na sabihin natin that let's say for example Anntonia Porsild is she's like this like that, marami nang ginulap sa mukha, mas maganda siya noon. But the thing is, if you look at Anntonia, walang nabago in terms of personality and in the way that she is being packaged. May konting issue din tayo kay Anntonia that I will be pointing it out later on na madalas yun yung kulma ng mga type reps that they do point blank for every MUT na winners in exception to the TPN winner, the first TPN MUT winner na si Pawin Suda. And I will explain this a little bit later on. And I don't want that ganun din yung packaging kay Michelle na nakakahon based on what worked on Bea might work again for Michelle because there is a danger that they are going to compare her doon sa nagawa na ni Bea before. Ang danger for that is that the Miss Universe org will probably think that okay, they're just sending me another Miriam Kiambao clone. And that is why it didn't work for a lot of our girls in the 2000s. Now we kept on sending to Miss Universe Miriam Kiambao clones. This is the worry that I have with Michelle. I'm not saying that Michelle is a clone facially of Bea Luigi, but I am saying that the way that they are packaged is very similar. That there needs to be a point where nagda-divert yung packaging for Michelle so that we would see her better, understand her better, be relatable to her a little bit better. So I think that is the reason the two reasons why I am not yet putting Michelle as the Asian flag bearer this year because I think in terms of technical ability, um, India and Thailand are still above her. And I think that is something that made me realize that if I'm going to be honest with this list, there are only two Asian. Okay, then. Ayan, pasensya na. Nagkaroon ulit tayo ng tawag to, na interruption sa ating internet. Okay, so now let's talk about our picks, our choices for the Asian flag bearers. On this list, I have only two names, and they are Anntonia Porsild of Thailand and um, Shweta Sharda of India. When you look at Shweta, she's not your typical Indian girl that we've seen in the past 5, 7 years competing in Miss Universe. Shweta is around 5'11", if I'm not mistaken. Her height is 5'11". She's a dancer. And she can dance traditional Indian dances as well as modern hip hop uh, street dances, which makes her very modern, but at the same time, not afraid to look back at her heritage in terms of the way that she expresses herself through dance. And I like that in Shweta because when she performs on stage, she's very fluid on stage. And this is the same, analogy that we have with Rio Mori when she was performing at Miss Universe during her year. That because she's a ballet dancer, very fluid yung kanyang motions on stage. That is the kind of fluidity that I hope our own, Miss Philippines, Michelle D, would be able to have when it comes to her pasarela. Because when you look at Shweta Sharda's performance at the Liva Miss Diva Liva Miss Diva competition, her movement on stage, there is no extra movements that is not warranted for. She's very fluid. The transitions are very much easy in terms of her movements. Walang erratic na movements when she's uh, she's presenting on stage. That is why, in terms of the technical ability, I would put Shweta's technical skills higher than that of our own. And I think that is an area of opportunity for us to overcome. India, Shweta also is very well spoken when it comes to the Q&A portion. And among the Indian girls that does interviews, I think that when she answers questions on stage, she comes off as very empathetic. When she was asked, what advice would she give her parents, and she mentioned, about her mom, about what her mom sacrificed when her parents, split to raise both her and her brother. She mentioned that she wanted her mom to be more proud of herself. I think that was like this is the reason why she won Miss India, why she won Miss India Universe, because there is so much empathy in the way that she delivered her answer that the judges felt for her. And if you are competing at Miss Universe, everyone can compete at an intellectual level. But when you answer questions with a lot of a lot of depth and humanity and humility, the way that you express your deepest, most intimate thoughts, especially the question like that is very, very difficult in terms of gaano mo siya mabibigyan ng laman ng ng gravitas, and the way that she answered it back made me realize that this is the reason why Shweta is going to Miss Universe. Not to mention, she has the face that looks like yung nakompetensya ni Catriona, the Miss Universe India in 2018. I forgot her name, and the fact that yung mukha niya is half of the Miss Universe India 2018 and of Pia Works back, kind of made me realize na very winnable siya in terms of the way that she is competing that she's competing at Miss Diva at that time. So if madala niya yun sa Miss Universe, I am sure easy peasy pasok siya sa semi-finalists come finals in El Salvador. So that is the reason that why I am putting Shweta as one of the girls that would carry the flag for the Asian continent in Miss Universe. Next is, of course, Anntonia Porsild of Thailand. Unahin ko muna kung what are the things that I think needs to be addressed when it comes to Anntonia. In terms of the area that she needs to work on, Anntonia needs to be able to break from the NUT mold. We've seen this being applied on Anjali. on Anna, on Amanda, and what's her name? Uh, oh, suddenly I forgot the name. And this is, the very well polished, well put up, very, very impeccable Miss Universe Thailand image. The problem with that is that it looks very consistent, or rather too consistent, from one winner to the next winner to the next winner, and now to Anntonia. If they are going to box her up and use that kind of formula, the same formula over and over for every girl, that is where you lose the kind of personality that people in love with you in the first place. And I think that is what Antonia needs to address, needs to polish, and needs to correct, because she needs to stand out, and not Miss Universe Thailand girl from the time uh, of Amanda up until now. There is a certain kind of MUT look that is, that I find redundant, that they are not able to bring out, the unique personality in each of these girls, in their preparations. That it looks very standard NUT look. Day one, day two, until day three. From these are the things that she's wearing. This is the things that she is, prepared for. So there is no. I feel that there is no spontaneity on the girl. That they become a little too much robotic in terms of the way that they are packaged. So if Antonia is able to break from that look, or from that mold, I think that would be helpful for her, because if you look at the trajectory of the Miss Universe Thailand winners from the time that TPN came in, the only girl that has very refreshing personality, very engaging approach is actually Fasai. When Pauline Suga won in 2019, wala tayong qualms about her personality, because she's light, she's easy to get to know. She's easy on the eyes. There is nothing about her that is offensive, or that kind of takes you off in a negative way. When it comes to the following girls later on, it seems like they kept on doing the same formula over and over that they did for, let's say, Amanda, making top 10 in her year. And then subsequently, the years after, naging masyadong dekahon, very boxed the way that they package their girls. That is on the NUT team. I think at the nationals, Amanda, Anne, Angeli, and what's her name, and Anna, they all looked much more relaxed, much more authentic, much more unique in terms of their personality, at the NUT competition. By the time that they were in Miss Universe, it felt like the uniqueness in these girls. So it looks like they had more fun competing at NUT than at NU. That there is so much pressure coming in at their competition at Miss Universe, that they're not they're not having the best time of their lives. That's my read on that. But in terms of the technical ability, in terms of facial beauty, I don't find any of the NET girls lacking. I think that Antonia is perhaps the strongest girl that they have sent to Miss Universe, or that are sending to Miss Universe, since Fasai and Maria Ekren in 2019 and 2017. So, in terms of winnability, I think what Antonia is bringing into Miss Universe is that she has a very commercial beauty. Her beauty would work in Europe, in Latin America, and in Asia because one, um, Anntonia is half Dutch and half Thai. However, her beauty can translate into different markets. With the very Latinized, makeup, she can pass off like one of the Latin girls in the competition this year. I think that ultimately, Anntonia is going to be the girl to beat in Asia. I know a lot of Filipino fans will probably not agree with me. Will probably have very strong opinions against what I said. However, in terms of yung ability to win, I don't think kapos si Antonio on that. I do, however, want to point as well yung kanyang communication skills because she had very strong communication skills when she was competing at Miss Supra. I think in terms of her training for MUT, she was told to hold back, not to be very opinionated because the Thai government or the Thai people are very politically neutral whenever they are answering questions on stage because they don't want to offend their government or the people at leadership. That is why they always sound unsure whenever they are answering politically laden questions. And I think that is the reason why a lot of bloggers notice that when it comes to Q&A, they think that Thai girls are weak in that area. No, that's not the case. I believe that the reason why we see them as weak in that area is because they are trained not to offend when it comes to any question that has political implications on it. That is an area that I believe Antonia should work on because when she was at Miss Supranational, she was able to answer, questions without batting an eyelid. And nowadays, when you see her at MUT, whether it's the prepared speech or the on-stage questions, it looks like she is being very careful, and therefore she looks or she sounded unsure with her answers. But that's not the case. I think that she's just being trained to be very careful. Uh, sorry, to be politically safe in terms of her answers in questions that are political in nature. Okay, now with Asia out of the question, let's now talk about um, the ladies that is going to comprise of the largest chunk uh, of our discussion because I think the Latin American delegates is going to be the most difficult girls na patumbahin. They are going to be the girls that's going to be the how to say this. I think that without being too predictive. I think that the Americas is going to be the headache of this group because they're pulling guns that are very strong representatives that are really top caliber that if they were given chances, to compete in other years, baka they could, one or two would end up with the title. This year, I think if we are going to be honest, there are several girls that I had to remove from my list. And that would include, Chile and uh, and Venezuela because Chile is very Amanda Dudamel, yung kanyang vibes. I think that she's going to do well in the competition. She has this fresh look in her, and she has this very unassuming kind of beauty that is different from the rest of the Latinas. However, the girls that are on my list are really heavy hitters, whether it's in social media, whether it's the way that they are packaged. I think these are the girls that hindi pwedeng ma-ignore simply because they have a lot of things to offer. Um, there is something about Diana Silva and the way she is being packaged lately that I feel like the spark and the glow is gone. If they are able to bring back that kind of energy to her when she competes later in El Salvador, then I don't think magiging issue yon. I think that she will be um, one of the girls to really look out for. But as of now, I think there are five girls that are above the list in terms of the energy that they're bringing in in their socials, in their media tour right after they won. So I have on my list Peru's Camila Escribens. I think that she is going to be a girl that we need to be afraid of come preliminaries because she will bring the heat in the evening gown and the swimsuit competition. Her being a Miss Grand alumni, is not going to hurt her. Although in the past several years, hindi lahat ng mga Miss Grand na mga alumni has been successful like Madison Anderson in Miss Universe in Atlanta in 2019. I think that Camila could easily make it into the coast it into the top 10 of the competition, but kinakailangan she really brings in the heat because she's going to have to compete against a lot of her Latino comrades. Now, the next one on my list is actually Nicaragua Sheynis Palacios. If you look at her and the way that she moves on stage during the Miss Nicaragua Universe competition, you would know that she will bring, that kind of energy on stage at the Miss Universe pageant this year. It also hurt her that she looks really very gorgeous. She has this face and the way that she carries herself kind of reminds me of Alicia Machado in 1996. The kind of young, energetic, bubbly, but really killer on stage the vibes. So we really need to put in more attention with Sheynis, although right now medyo nag-blend in na siya doon sa kapwa niya mga Latinas. However, we look further into the technical aspect that she's gonna bring in the competition later on, I think kaya-kaya niya na makipagsabayan not only to the Latinas but also to the Asian Flagbearers. Now, the next girl that I'm going to mention is going to be controversial because earlier when I said that there are two mothers competing at Miss Universe this year, only one of them is going to make it in the semis. And for me, that is Camila Avella. That her coming fresh after country, plus being a mother and a wife, plus being a professional model, there is something about the way that she expresses herself during interviews when she was asked about how she manages being, all four of those. And she said that she is very thankful sa kanyang husband because without her husband, she would not been able to, juggle the demands of the competition, the demands of her business, and the demands of being a wife and a mother, as well as the demands of all other things that she needs to prepare for the Miss Universe Colombia competition. So the way that she spoke about it, was very candid, but at the same time, it gives us a perspective on what happens when you are a mother. With a lot of things that you need to juggle as a mother. And maganda yung perspective that she can bring into the competition later on. And I am sure, she is going to milk this in the interview portion of the competition. Not to mention, she's also facially gorgeous. She's also very physically fit. She has abs. She looks good on stage. So I don't worry about her not making semis because she kind of reminds me of Miss Universe first runner Ariadna Gutierrez at some point. And I think that she's going to bring that same kind of level of energy come Miss Universe time. Now, the next on my list is Dominican Republic's Mariana Downey. She, I believe, for me, is the face of Latin America this year. I love her face. I love, her very long neck, very swan-like. I love her very long proportions. I only think that she has long torso. So medyo ingat tayo sa styling. We should be very careful when it comes to that kind of styling for her. Because it makes her, because if you have a long torso, it makes you look shorter than you are on stage. So you really need to be very careful with the way that you are styled. But I think having Osmel Sosa, okay, so we're back. As I was saying, I think that with Mariana, we're kind of safe to say that if Osmel is going to lend his magic, like he did with Vega during her year. So, I think ultimately we really have to pay attention on the Caribbean girls in Miss Universe dahil they have something to bring into the table. And of course, on top of our list is Puerto Rico's Karla Inelisse Guilfu. Being a first runner-up in Miss Supranational in, I believe, 2020 or 2021, um, there is an expectation on her to surpass that placement from Miss Universe. And I think that the momentum nowadays is on Puerto Rico. They have been placing quite frequently in the top 10, in the top 5 of Miss Universe in the past several years. So I am not going to be surprised kung this year sila ang mananong Miss Universe. And add to that, that if there are rumors are true that Puerto Rico could possibly host Miss Universe in 2024, then I think that there is a good chance that Karla Guilfu has Lady Luck on her side. It's been, it's quite very special to have your crown uh, passed on and to pass on your crown in your home country because you will be part of the festivities of the Miss Universe in that country, in the host country. So I think yun yung maganda doon sa yun yung maganda doon sa pagkapanalo if ever ni Karla Gil. So those are the girls that I have in my list as of the moment as the flag bearers. So as we all know, Asia and Africa is usually clumped together. So for Asia and Africa, I have South Africa, India, and Thailand as the what do you call this? The flag bearers for that continental grouping. Europe, I have France, Netherlands, and Spain. And for the Americas, I have quite a handful. I have Puerto Rico, Colombia, Dominican Republic, Nicaragua, and Peru in my list. However, if I'm going to add my wild cards, I would include Chile, I would include Venezuela, the Philippines. I am waiting for the US and Panama as well kung sino yung kukoranahan nila because I think there is a possibility na magkukorona ang Panama ng tender as well and I don't think that USA malalaglag sa top 10, top 16 anytime soon, especially that they still need their foothold on the American market. So ipapasok nila si Miss USA. So there. Let's read some comments before
before we read yung mga results ng poll natin. Okay? I think we ended up with the comment from, was it Mark Gonzalez? I think it's Mark Gonzalez. So, eto na, we're reading the comment from Lemuel235. He mentioned Zimbabwe is returning in the pageant. What are the chances Zimbabwe placing back in the semis again after nearly a decade? I am not sure if Zimbabwe has a strong chance as of this moment, because right now I think that the momentum really is on the Latina girls. I do, however, believe that when the profiles of the girls are released and that I am able to read more about these girls, who they are, what are their personalities, I will have a better gauge on the girls who might be making it into the semis. Sabi ni June, MU needs money, and sadly, pati JKN. Magiging business decision kung sino ang papananlunin sa MU, either someone from a pageant-obsessed country and or a beautiful marketable face ang papanalunin. Ayan. Jester PL says, with Michelle, Sir Jess, I'm expecting her a Bea Luigi kind of attack sa El Salvador. Gulatan. Actually, Jester, nakikita ko na yung similarities ng packaging ni Michelle kay Bea Luigi. So, wag naman masyadong Bea Luigi Gomez 2.0 sana ang kalabasan.
Okay. Where were we? Lemon235 says, from my thoughts, ganyan din ang puna ng karamihan kay Michelle. Ang facial expressions, pero pagdating mismo ng finals, nangain ng buhay. Yes, so she acknowledges what needs to be done, kaya tiwala lang surges. Haji says, I think NUPH has lost their marbles in prepping MU contenders. Sabi ni AJ Baay, we need a new owner of MUPH, period. Jester PL says, wala din naka-reach ng levels ni Catriona Sir na nag-emit winner vibes since her national na crowning. I agree. It is a disservice when a girl is being compared kay Catriona, because Catriona is the benchmark. I don't think that any girl or pageant girl since her or before her could really measure up to the way that she competed at Miss Universe. So kapag ikumpara natin si Michelle, si Rabia, si Bea, kay Catriona, all girls will always measure short because her standards has not yet been broken. I don't think there is a Miss Universe that could match what she has achieved in the competition. The nationals pa lang, alam natin na siya na ang Miss Universe come December or come November of that year. So it's going to be very difficult if you are being compared to Catriona. JD Sarmiento says, MUO would crown not only a girl with good communication skills, but also with great public relations, persuasive and bold type of personality. Considering MUO and JKN is in a state of financial crisis. Sabi ni Lamuel, itong these opinions on Anntonia is the very same opinion that our very own Celeste received last year, being the most beauty that have sent. Being the most beautiful that we have sent in Miss Universe, and yet is the exact opposite resulted. That smells danger. Sabi ni Jon Snow 79, okay, sana Miss India, pasok sa banga, maganda, may sense magsalita, with conviction, mabenta. Problema lang, the last two Emmy winners from India don't wanna sound politically incorrect, gained weight. Family Reyes, hi, Miss WM. Hi, Miss WM. Good evening. Okay. Jester PL, nakaka-excite ang November. I agree with that. Travel Junkie says, I will be happy for Thailand and Anntonia if she wins on Latin soil. She looks humble and not stuck up. Um, I hope we support the ladies, especially our co-agents, than dragging them down. I kind of agree because I think the animosity that we have with Thailand is not because they are like our um, neighbors down on sa baba, sa down under, uh, but rather because we perceive Thailand as a threat. In around 2017, I already posted like an article in what do you call this in my blog that Thailand is going to be the next apple of the eye of the Miss Universe organization, and we've seen that consistently since then. That every year, there is hype on their girls, whether they make it into the semis or not. There is always hype on their girls, and this hype is not only coming from Filipino pageant pages and bloggers, but also from Latin pages. So there is a reason why kinakabahan tayo when it comes to the contenders. The Thai contenders. Okay? John Snow says, Dom Rap reminds me of Ariela Arida and Rachel Peters sa mga picks niya. Problema ko kay Puerto Rico, di niya kayang tumingin ng diretso. Lagi siyang tabingi-tumingin, side glance lagi, may pagkabanlag. Um, Michael Cordova, sabi niya, nakahabol ako sa Jason. Hello, Michael. Nice seeing you here. Dagdag ni Michael, wag lang maging Puerto Rico 2.0 ang magiging, uh, nawala. Nawala yung comment ni Michael. Okay, so let's jump into June's comment. Ano kaya magiging reaction ng El Salvador crowd kung hindi makapasok ang candidate nila? Will they be like Mexico 1993 or 2007? Let's wait and see. Um, okay, so ito yung comment ni Michael Cordobes. Sabi niya, wag lang maging Puerto Rico 2.0 ang mangyayari sa El Salvador na puro Latina ang nakapasok sa top 5 last 2001. I wouldn't have any problem if a full Latina makes top 5, deserve nila because of the strong, set of candidates that they are sending in Miss Universe this year. I do, however, think that the consideration now for JKN and the Miss Universe organization is to find a girl who is marketable, commercial, very commercial, definitely, and can sell. I think if you're going to sum it up, hindi lang dapat maganda, hindi lang dapat matalino, may advocacy, but also someone who can be a strong brand ambassador for the Miss Universe brand. Looking at Miss Universe nowadays, they need money. And with all of these products, Miss Universe branded products, Miss Universe related na mga products being rolled out into the market, they need someone who's going to be able to endorse that. That's why on my end, I think that Anntonia is in a good position when it comes to her chances for the Miss Universe na title because there is um, she's definitely a very commercial winner. That is the reason why MUT chose her. And I think that MUT is, paying off on the choice for Anntonia because right now, Anntonia is mayroon siyang ini-endorse na beauty clinic, mayroon na siyang ini-endorse na gym, gym business, fitness related na business, may drinks na rin yata I think na siyang ini-endorse as well as Turkish Airlines and several other sponsors ng MUT. So the mere fact that they are gaining more money on her being the face and the winner of TPN's Miss Universe Thailand na pageant, I think kung kaya niyang dalhin yung ganong klaseng energy, imagine na lang natin yung pera na ipapasok ni Anntonia if she wins Miss Universe. Most likely that all of these, Asian and Thai business owners are going to be very involved doon sa mga endorsement deals with her. And I think yan yung isa sa mga magpapasok ng pera sa Miss Universe organization at sa JKN. Now, since sa pag-uusapan din lang naman natin tawag nito uh, yung what do you call this? Yung uh, sitwasyon ng JKN. I just want to make some clarification, I believe, on the situation because a lot of people are thinking that palubog na ang ang JKN Global na conglomerate under Kun-an. There was even some fake news that says that Miss Universe in El Salvador is not pushing through because of all the debts that Kun-an and JKN Global has incurred at wala na silang pambayad. They cannot pay off yung mga debts nila. They're no longer liquid. They're selling the Miss Universe organization. I am glad that Kun-an and the Miss Universe MUT na team clarified this and mentioned once and for all that there is no cancellation of the Miss Universe pageant happening in November. I am glad that it came from her so that it is much more clear. Because during last week's live stream, I mentioned that it's not yet the end for JKN Global because they have the assets. They're not just liquid. Those are two things. When you are laden with debt, you have to look at two things. Your capacity to buy and yung income ng pera mo para mabalanse mo yung running the business as well as paying off your debtors. And I think that with JKN, they have the assets, but they are not just liquid. They have to liquefy those assets first in order for them to be able to become more liquid. I think that is yung one of the things that not a lot of fans understand when it comes to business, na hindi basta-basta lang na because may utang ka, paon ka sa utang, you're in deep financial trouble na. Sometimes we just need to wait and see if this gets worse or kayang i-navigate ito ng pamunuan ng organization. Because it's easy to spell doom and gloom, especially in this, in pageants because pageants are very volatile businesses. But jumping into conclusions will not make your case or would not make you right because maraming pwedeng mangyari. There's a lot of possible scenarios na pwede niyang gawin. Debt restructuring is one of those. I think that she is a very acute na businesswoman, so she can navigate this. And I don't think that there is cause for alarm as of this moment. We just have to be patient and wait and see until the issues are resolved. Because right now, I don't think that we have a clear picture of what is going on doon sa buong nangyayari doon sa organization. So rather than than jumping into conclusions, let's just wait and see because there are definite mga payment structures na hindi natin naiintindihan that is not made in public. So jumping into conclusions would only lead us into believing fake news. And it's clear that Kun-an is going to be very litigious in that aspect pagdating sa proliferation ng mga fake news. So okay, so let's just be careful kapag may nakikita tayong mga ganitong balita because it's not gonna be helpful in the end. Okay, so let's now look at some comments before we finalize our live stream. Okay, saan na ba tayo? I think we ended up with Michael Cordobes. Okay, so sabi ni June, if kung ano will follow Uncle's past success with Venezuela, Latina mananalo sa MU. Mukhang deserving naman ang Latin delegates this year. I agree. Sabi ni Pangyao 78, hello, sir. Wait, saan na yun? Sorry. Sabi niya, hello sir, nakasamba pa sa pa-live nyo. Thank you po sa mga pa-tsaa, avid follower ako. Okay, don't worry, there will be more tsaa coming soon. Johnstone 79, with what you're saying, Sir Jess, can a girl from a country who hasn't won Miss U can win? Or a girl from a non-pageant country, pageant crazy country should just enjoy the ride kasi hindi sila mananalo. I think that there is a strong possibility that an underdog, someone who hasn't won Miss Universe can still win. The probability though that makapasok yung mga heavy hitters is higher because of one, they are very much well known, well thought of in social media. They are really spending in energies, resources, and to be visible. Parati silang may ginagawa on social media. So, mas malaki yung chances na napapansin sila ng mga tao. However, that is not a barometer of are you winnable? Hindi yun ang tinitignan, if we are looking at kaya bang manalo ng mga girls na ito. They are equal, in equal, playing field. I still believe that. And I still think that if given the chance, there is a strong likelihood for me that ang mananalo this year can be an underdog, can be a popular girl as long as they take off yung mga tinitignan ng Miss Universe. And I think they are going to look for someone with strong commercial ability, strong marketability. Kasi yun yung kinakailangan nila, especially now that the Miss Universe brand has expanded into products and merchandise. Next na ba? JB, sir, ina-expect mo ba na sasali si Chantal sa The Miss Philippines? Ako kasi hindi. Hahaha, mas gusto ko siya sa MUPH pero parang bagay siya sa Supra. Actually, I'm looking forward for her to joining MUPH, to be honest. I was, I am not as invested doon sa The Miss Philippines dahil panibagong pageant na naman. But because wala pa eh. Next year pa naman yung pageant nila. So kahit na mag-ingay sila sa mga screening nila this year, how can we be 100% sure na itong mga nag-screening this year still have the, still has the interest to pursue the competition next year. Lalo na kung ang competition naman is bandang Mayo pa o Marso pa of next year. Parang nagsayang lang sila ng pagkahaba-habang panahon, di ba? Okay, unless nagkapirmahan na sila ng mga kontrata as official candidates. Michael Cordova says, Sir, feeling magpapasok sila ng mga candidates na may mga big followers sa social media para makatulong sa marketing strategy nila. Natuto na sila sa nangyari last year. If that's the case, then they should definitely bring in, France, because siya yata yung may pinakamalaking follower in terms of the candidates, Miss Universe candidates. sabi ni Jon Snow 79, tagal na rin kasi na winner, tagal na rin kasi na winner from a country na first time winner at hindi pageant crazy na country. Nakakamiss din yung time, yung time like yung 80s na surprise mga winners, kita talaga sa mga mukha nila. Okay. The next na comment, we have Michael Cordofes. Sabi niya na nilaglag nila lahat ng mga big social media followers na pwede makatulong sa kanila. Okay. There. I think we've covered all of the comments na, if I'm not mistaken. I do hope na na you're quite satisfied doon sa ating tawag nito, doon sa ating live stream this evening. So far ang leading sa ating poll is si Michelle D with 47%. Close behind is Anntonia of Thailand at 45%. Shweta Sharda of India at 8%. Okay. So as a closing note, because I think we've been live for almost 2 hours na. I think this year we really have to emphasize on a winner that is total package. Na yung tipong ang winner na gusto nating manalo this year is someone who ticks off all the necessary or the needed na requirements for a winner. Importante ngayon is yung marketability, I believe. If last year, I was already like 100% invested with Arboni in winning Miss Universe, this year, I think kalating energies natin because we are rooting for different girls to make it into the competition. I think that maraming pwedeng mangyari in terms of possible winners because hindi pa set yung pwedeng manalo. Marami pang pwedeng mangyari. And I think that is, that is something that we really need to focus on because the Miss Universe this year is probably going to be a strong competition. So we are not 100% sure if sino yung magiging top 5 mananalo. So bilog pa rin ang bola, marami pwedeng mangyari. I am hoping that for the Philippines, our own representative, si Michelle, would be able to catch up doon sa mga Latina and Asian counterparts niya. I think that she has the goods, she just needs to be packaged well in terms of yung yung competition later on at Miss Universe. So there. Wait a minute. May mga pahabol na mga comments. Let me just pagpasensyahan nyo na. I'm kind of having like slow internet kaya puputol-putol tayo ng internet natin. So there is this comment from, saan ba yun? Dorothy B. Jones, sabi niya, Michelle has a month to create significant interest. Her team must create a magical balance of advocacy, power, and fun. So I kind of feel you, Dorothy. Kasi tama yung sinabi mo that there's still more than a month. So marami pa siyang pwedeng magawa in terms of preparations for that to happen. So I think that ultimately, if we want to win Miss Universe this year, we really have to make sure that no stone is unturned dahil ang dami nating kinakailangang patumbahin. We have a lot of competition in not only in Latin America, but we also have a lot of competition in Asia itself. I think that this year is the kind of year na mag-aano tayo, we need a very fresh uh, because honestly, yung ano natin, yung strategies natin in the past na know when to pick is not going to be working in our favor, especially this time around. Ang mga Latina ngayon pa lang nag-iingay na, they are, very much involved in social media. Fresh pa yung pagpapanalo ng ilan sa kanila, kaya the momentum is on their end, is on their side. So, I think we really need to, to recalibrate the way that we do our pageant campaigns. Okay, now, we just ended our online poll, and lumalabas sa ating survey sa ating poll that Michelle and Anntonia shared the same number of votes. They both have 46% of the votes, with the remainder on India's Shweta Sharda. So I think it's very clear that tawag nito, that yung ano natin, yung loyalties natin is divided between Anntonia and Michelle. So there. I think we've discussed a lot of topics already at this live stream. Thank you very much, for being with us throughout a very long na live stream ngayon. Ang dami nating mga comments, ang dami nating mga puro-puro na pinag-usapan. We've discussed a lot of girls in our, in our flag bearer discussion, and why I think these girls are the flag bearers. So I am sure that by next month, magbabago pa yung mga ano natin, yung mga nasa listahan natin, because I think it is safe to say that by October, things were going to be more hectic as we approach the month of November. Next month, we will have the Miss International na competition, and on November, the Miss Universe competition, and on December, the Miss World and the Miss Earth na competition. So, marami tayong abangan in the next several months. Ayan. So, thank you very much for everyone who joined us in our live stream. Dun sa mga ngayon lang nakahabol, you can, replay the entire live stream later on. And I do hope that before we end, please like our live stream so that it will be pushed to more audiences. For those who haven't yet subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe, and let's grow this community on YouTube. That's it, everyone. Thank you very much for all the support that you've given to us, and especially for this live stream event this evening. Hope to see you in our next live stream next week. Ayan. Take care, everyone, and see you again soon. Bye. Oops.